Walking down the street, I feel like a fake. It's getting more than I can take, and this time is getting too small for me to make sense of it all. And I'm heating the cold. Every step is another betrayal, and I'm left holding the rail. It's getting hard to resist when everyone is taking the piss. I'm getting tired of this. And I'm a broken unromantic. I'm a broken unromantic. I'm a broken unromantic. Yeah. I'm a broken unromantic. I'm a broken unromantic. I'm a broken unromantic. Yeah. And everyone in this time is telling me I'm broken down. I've started to believe it. And everyone in this time is telling me I'm broken down. I've started to believe it. Waiting for morning to come so we can go and waste another one, choosing to ignore every sign and walk around still pretending you're mine. Am I just wasting my time? And I'm a broken unromantic. 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 Yeah. And everyone in this time is telling me I'm broken down. I've started to believe. And everyone in this time is telling me I'm broken down. I've started to believe. So the song Broken Down Romantic I wrote when I was about 22. It was one of a bunch of songs I wrote when I was about 22. And as I remember it, I wrote it quite quickly. And it was a fairly easy song to write from what I can remember. Um, I remember really liking the song, and I liked the kind of rhythm of it and the feeling of it. And around the time I wrote it, I recorded a demo in a small studio in Derry. Um, Put it up on SoundCloud. I'll try and remember and put the link up to that so you can hear the demo and then kind of see how it compares to the album version, and then kind of how that compares to the version I play. I play live because they're all sort of different, you know. And it's a funny kind of song because I play it differently every time, and I sing it sort of different every time I play it. And it's a song that for me is always it's always kind of moving and changing and evolving. Um, Especially the outro. I play a different outro every time. Like for a while because I didn't have any effects up until about 2 years ago. I didn't have any effects or anything, and I just played with an acoustic guitar. Sometimes with a bit of reverb on it, sometimes not. And I sort of found ways of doing what I thought were interesting things at the end of that song. Um, and then in the last couple of years, as I've had effects and I've had choices of different sounds, um, and I've had a little looper that I can use, I've started to sort of develop different outros and different ways of doing it. And sometimes I use overdrive, sometimes I mess around with different effects, and sometimes I use fuzz and I loop that, and it becomes like a wall of sound, sort of wall of noise, and my attempt at a My Bloody Valentine kind of vibe. Um, so sort of in keeping with that, when myself and Shane Byrne were recording the album Romance and Melodrama, um, when we were recording Broken Down Romantic, I wasn't 100% sure what way to go with it, because I felt like there was always, it could have went a million different ways. Although I had certain sounds in my head and I had certain feelings in my head, like I wanted a kind of drum machine, that kind of four to the floor kind of rhythm on it. I felt like that was just what I heard, and I heard it as a kind of almost dancey kind of sound with acoustic guitar and electric guitar layered and backing vocals. And like if you listen to the version on SoundCloud, and I think it's one acoustic guitar and like three vocals. It's a 3-part harmony thing, and I did a kind of a variation on that on the album, and the use of tremolo, as I do in this video, and as I generally do live. It's just the sound that I hear in my head when I think about that song. But I remember being really kind of challenged by the outro, and not knowing really what way to go with it, because again, it could have went a million different ways. And I remember Shane, kind of the allotted time for the outro was quite short. Well, short compared to how I play it live, which is I stretch it out and stretch it out and stretch it out and sort of see where I can go. And Um, the allotted time for the however many, I can't remember how many bars it is, but it's fairly short compared with how I do it live. And I remember thinking it wouldn't really suit the big fuzz thing that I was doing at the time. That was, I kind of had locked it into that's the outro. And I remember thinking that wouldn't really suit it because it wasn't that kind of record, you know. Um, I remember that and a song called Whatever Works. Um, how I did them live was I basically, again, I would use fuzz and then I would loop that and it would become this sort of wall of noise, and it would, you know, I would try and get more and more kind of wild with it, and then, you know, go into the next song as a transition. And I remember being really kind of challenged by, well, what do I do on the record? Like, how can I um, still have a bit of a spark of spontaneity and do something interesting within a set of quite a small number of bars, and within the sort of context of this isn't, you know, it wouldn't have suited a big mad sort of wall of sound on that, or wall of like white noise and fuzz on that album. Um, and I remember just, you know, one of my sort of big hero for electric guitar, especially in terms of recording, is Johnny Marr. Um, I I've mentioned that a few times at a few different places, and he's always in my mind when I think about recording guitars and arranging guitars for a recording in the studio, uh, acoustic and electric, but especially electric. The work he did with the Smiths and pretty much everything else he's been involved in is a massive influence on just how I think of the guitar. And I remember just going, I wonder could I do my approximation of a Smithsy Johnny Marr kind of thing, like a sort of my approximation of a Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now, kind of how the thing unfolds, the arrangement of the guitars, how they unfold, and it opens up into this multi-layered flowing thing. And I remember just sort of wanting to see if I could do an approximation of that, and I think it came across pretty well. I remember there's a bit of that in there. There's a bit of Creedence Clearwater Revival in there. There's a whole bunch of different vibes and sounds, and uh, all on that, within that sort of solo, I suppose you could call it, outro section. Um, but yeah, I'm really. That's one of the ones I'm really kind of chuffed with. I really like that one. I'm really proud of what we did with it.